I think it's important that we share, that we communicate, that we are open, and that we grow together to achieve.
Because we are the voice of what wellness is about, and it's up to us to spread the message.
Good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and good morning for those in North America. Welcome to Professional Beauty's World Spa and Wellness Conference. We have over yesterday, today, and tomorrow 70 speakers. And what we've tried to do is really cut out, if you excuse my language, the bull and get to the point. And majority of our speakers are running spas or very, very active involvement in spa development, and we want them to share genuine advice. So I've been very much enjoying the program. I hope those of you have. This session is brought very much in conjunction with Kathryn Moore of Spa Connectors. Thank you very much, Kathryn. And it's entitled, How Can Spas Work with Brands to Launch Interesting Services and Reach New Customers? Let's look at brand collaboration. So just before I hand over to Kathryn, just like to thank our partners, Biologic Research and Lemmy. And Kathryn, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Very excited to be here. And I can see we've got 138 participants already. Very exciting. Thank you. So today we have a lineup of very savvy business leaders, and we're excited to be able to talk to you about brand collaboration. What we want to say is that having the right partnerships and the right brand collaboration can really help elevate your brand. And so we've brought together a group of women. Well, it's turned out that they are all women, fortunately. A group of women that are going to bring some great tips to you today to help you, whether it's pre-COVID, because this obviously has been happening for a long time, but post-COVID also. And what sort of tips can you do and apply to your businesses, whether it's a spa, wellness clinic, or what have you? And what can you do to help get some more credibility to your business by partnering with existing brands? And so I just want to introduce our panel. We have some great women, and let me start by introducing Aldina Duarte Ramos. She's the Global Director of Wellbeing for Accor. Aldina is a blue ocean strategist and focuses on strategy, execution, innovation, and concept integration. She's a visionary leader. She's renowned for her expertise in high-end wellness projects around the globe and is the Global Director for some beautiful brands from Accor. Thanks for joining us, Aldina. We also then have Mary Pratt, nicknamed Pratt. She's the founder of the Caviar Spoon Rebelle. She's a leading matchmaker, focusing on brands, and it's brand to brand or micro-influencer brand matchmaking. And she's a successful creative collaborator that brings together auxiliary brands and helps harness potential of these brands. I think it'll be really interesting to hear from her today. She's currently producing an online platform to bring together different brands, and that'll be exciting to hear more from her. We then have Mari Armada from the Elixir Clinic. Mahi is the co-founder and the co-director of the Elixir Clinic, a bespoke wellness clinic that is specializing in enhancing clients' well-being through IV therapy, vitamin infusions, intramuscular injections, anti-aging, and much more. She's based in London, but she's always on a plane. And she is in charge of the global business strategies for her business, and that includes obviously brand collaborations and developing the latest technologies, treatments, and trends with integrative medicine. We also have Nicola Stott. We're very lucky to have her, Director of Special Projects from Elemis. She has over 20 years experience with Elemis, but over 30 years in the beauty industry. So Nicola understands the opportunities and the challenges of the industry through product supply and brand management. She's taken the brand around the world, which is also very exciting. So we've been able to see how brands can work with other brands and she'll be sharing what Elemis has been doing from a brand collaboration perspective. So we've got, as you can see, a powerhouse of women here, and let's get started with some questions. We're going to start with Mary, as she is the queen of collaborations. Mary, what are the benefits in engaging in collaboration? Like, why would a brand want to piggyback or collaborate with another brand?
Well, it seems an easy answer, but so many people don't do it. But the fundamental reason is, as brands, you can expose yourself and piggyback off other like-minded brands, saving unnecessary, so I state unnecessary, overspend on social media marketing and PR. So you see over time, we get busy, we have brands and we start doing stuff, paid advertising. But if you work as an alliance, so a collaborative alliance, it can open so many doors. It can save money. It can allow you to stick at what you are good at without diversifying, but bringing in the experts who are good from other angles. So there's many benefits. So it's a fabulous way to do it, but it has to be done properly.
Can you give us an example of a good collaboration so that we can sort of all get our head around these collaborations? Because when I first brought this idea up of collaborations, everyone sort of thought, what do you mean by collaborations? Because there are many different angles.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the big brands, you have very random industries. You can have Spotify with Uber. You can have Crayola did a great collaboration or a cross marketing collaboration with Clinique. So that's a great collaboration. Rimowa with Off-White. So you had the suitcase with the designers. So there's so many different ways you can do it with brand to brand or influencer. And with regards to, with collaborations, it can be anything from we see a lot of retreats, whether at the moment there are lots of virtual retreats. And I was looking at the other day and they had some people speaking, but they're missing the key thing of a collaboration was saying, well, if you have a yoga specialist, which is doing an online session, then a collaboration would be a very cool, funky yoga wear brand, which you could actually send to the house before you start doing the sessions. So there's so many things. And from a collaboration point of products, if you think about, product as such, which you could collaborate with an illustrator with an aligned market. So there's a number of ways you can do it. And I could really talk about this for hours, but it's looking at every single touch point and saying, is that possible to collaborate with someone? And that can either be on a barter, a split rate, or a paid project.
Okay, that's interesting. Aldina, I mean, some of these ideas I think could be easily taken to the hotels, especially with some of your brands. How do you choose what sort of collaborations you do? And is there anything exciting that you're working on now that you could share with us?
Actually, how do we choose and how did that start? It starts with an inspiration first, because you need to be inspired, right? And I'm sure you know the expression, food for thought. So if you're inspired, then you will get the idea. The idea, then it's the kickstart. It's the idea to explore, then it's time to talk to the person that you are thinking about the project. Then you make it happen. And for us means testing, piloting. Because if you don't pilot, as we have such a network, a big network with so many world zones involved, so many cultures involved, you cannot have only one test in one country or one city and then duplicate. It's not a copy-paste thing. So you need to pick up the right angle, the right story, because what people will be looking for, it's at the end of the day, and what we want, it's meaningful stories. So that's the way we create our partnerships with this inspiration, ideas, tests, and pilots. And with this strategy, we've been able to consolidate a very first approach with, for example, Les Mills for Pullman.
Yep.
Pullman brand is now focusing on power fitness. It's very strong. It's on performance. And we start building a relationship, a strong partnership with Les Mills. They're the #1 content provider in the world when it comes to sports and sports on demand. So it's really matching with the brand DNA. So that's the first example. Les Mills with Pullman.
Okay, so I've got a question. Actually, I've got two.
Yeah, okay.
First question, when you say you pilot these things, which is obviously important, how do you measure these pilots? Because a lot of these sorts of concepts or collaborations take some time to get traction. So how would you measure it and say that it's successful or not successful, and then decide whether to move it on to another? I think that's something that our audience would like to hear.
Yeah. So there are a few barometers for us to understand how it's successful. So how easy it is to implement is very important to us, because if you have a fantastic idea, but at the end of the day, it's a nightmare for the hotel to implement, it will never happen. Even if the idea is beautiful, I mean, it needs to be very easy for the hotel to implement. So that's one of the barometer. This is how we deal with it. But then how we measure the guest, the final guest is the judge. So we need to do everything we can to make it accessible, to make it understandable. So it's crystal clear, it's plug and play for the guest. And if everyone understands it, then it's easy, you know, and then the team can be proud of this new product. And then when we have a proud team, then it's easy.
Right, okay. So the guest feedback from whether it's a survey or whatever, that sort of feedback then is able to give you the data that you can then decide whether you move forward.
With no guest feedback, there is no way that we can move forward. So we need to monitor this guest feedback. Then what's also interesting, depending on at level this collaboration is, but also we look at the revenue streams as well, depending on what we want to achieve with that. But revenue streams are also important.
Yep.
And also we look at brand image, of course. And what we want is to create meaningful stories at the end of the day. So we want this to match with the DNA of our brand. So this is also very, very important.
That sort of answers my second question, which is how would you choose a brand like your fitness brand, Les Mills, that you're doing? How did you choose that? And obviously what you're just saying now, it comes down to brand fit and does it have the same pillars or values, etc., that fit inside?
Yeah. We definitely have to share the same ambition. But for Les Mills, you know, it's still something we are ongoing. It started 4 years ago, you know, so it's a long run. It's a long run. We did one first crash test in Paris. Then we did another real pilot in Pullman-Bercy with the trip live. This is really interesting. And now we are moving on with a more broad partnership all over the world. And why we chose them was because we did share the same values, of course, but we wanted a strong partner able to support us all around the world. You know, we needed to count on the content all over the world. No surprises. Boom.
Yeah. Okay. So they've got that consistency, the credibility that you can rely on. So, like Mary, sorry to interrupt, Mary. I mean, we talked earlier about the fact that, you know, it doesn't always have to be big brands that you would collaborate with, big existing credible brands, but I mean, that certainly helps. What about these smaller brands that want to get a leg in? And sorry, guys, I will ask you some questions. Sure.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think with, you know, I call that the Big Bang collab. So, you know, you've got big brand, Les is big followers, you know, a collaboration like that is going to take time. So that's your, you know, your big, audacious, hairy goals of where you want to be in the collaboration side. But then you've got so many collaborations which you can do here and now. And, you know, it's not about keeping customers happy, it's keeping customers loyal. And loyal customers like to have some change, like to have new ideas. And one brand, and it's not pitching the brand, but Six Senses are very good at boutique collaboration. So they bring in visiting practitioners who have a very, very strong following. And their strong following tends to be of a right level in terms of their persona audience. So the salaries, the banding, they can afford that type of venue. The W in Oman, you know, they have Paola Body Bar, so she's a celebrity trainer in London, but her following is like a cult. They will go where Paola goes. So it works with that type of hotel. So you've got the big bang collaborations, then you have the small, and then obviously you have the latch collaborations. And I call it latch because it is a latch up or down. So you can have a really big brand who may be missing something because they're too big. So they sometimes latch on to a small emerging brand, whether that's a good or a service. And it's a win-win because a smaller brand gets coverage, the big brand gets their audience. You know, one of the examples on a product was Drunk Elephant. You know, that was bought for 845 million because they were missing the market of the young generation who wanted clean, raw beauty. So that's why it's sold. So, you know, there's a mix of collaborations, but that's a great example of, you know, that your big bang. And once it's implemented, you'll really see the ROI from that.
Okay. So, Mahi, let me ask you a question, because I think that this conversation right now really applies with your business. You have a business that has what I see shot to stardom. You're partnering with the Ned Soho House Group. You're in Harrods in the Wellness Centre. You know, some of these brands that are, you know, truly icons in the industry globally, very well known. What you created, though, from a brand perspective, is also very professional, very well done. So that also is obviously very credible. What do you look for when you're partnering with brands from a partnership perspective in the way of an operation? But then also, what do you look for when you're bringing brands internally, and how does that sort of look for the Elixir Clinic?
Oh, thank you, Kathryn.
Really
for us, the most important thing is, I mean, Elixir can be either standalone or an added value, especially as you mentioned, like all our collaborations so far, either hotel collaborations or even with Harrods.
Oh, I forgot to mention your hotel collaborations as well.
Oh, yeah.
Mandarin Oriental.
We had the Corinthia collaboration. We were at the Six Senses in Coachella this year as well. So those collaborations is where Elixir really becomes an add-on on their existing business model, and that we offer unique wellness services. So it's basically the integration of having a spa with the medical side, with the wellness side rather, or a department store that is a lifestyle approach, but you can also have your wellness treatments in the between shopping. So for us, when we opened up, like at the beginning, like any other clinic, we had started by just having our local wellness resorts. But now what we're doing is, and what is being working on, and for us, the most important thing is to, of course, expand like any other business, but it's super important to find other brands that we can collaborate with. And for us, for Akane and I, my business partner, the most important thing is for that brand to share the same value, share the same, to understand what wellness means, share the concept. And for me, at the end of the day, it's my customer journey, my customer satisfaction. So if my clients are happy at the end of the day, and if they can multitask and do things in parallel, then for me, that is a successful partnership. And our following, it's the same, like anywhere in the world you go, when it comes down to wellness, we all look into, like, even when you go on holidays, you will always search for the hotel that you're going to stay in and what that hotel has to offer. So it comes really down to the offering as well. So the answer to your question, Kathryn, will be really the most important thing is the brand value, how the engagement with the brand can be. Sharing the same vision always makes things so much easier, because speaking the same language is so good, and having the same long-term picture is just moves operationally much faster. Brand awareness in the added value side, like everybody nowadays. And during this pandemic, we all realize as well that we all want to do more things in one time, and you value your time more than ever. And that's super, super important. I truly believe in collaborations because there is no loss in it. it's, you know, you have the client satisfaction and you have the multitasking, and it's great. It's a targeted campaign, really.
A question for you. So would you say that your business would be in a different place today if you hadn't have partnered with Harrods and the Wellness Centre, which you've been with them now for how many years?
It's been now, well, we completed almost 3 years, and we are like on the next the next 3 to 5 years now. Let's see.
So, do you feel like that collaboration, that partnership, really took your business to a different level that perhaps you wouldn't have had if you didn't have that brand association?
So yes and no, because for us as well to get into a collaboration with Harrods and be a concession in Harrods, of course the brand awareness was already there. So what we focused on when we opened Elixir in 2013 was to build a brand and a clinic that safety and client safety, the client journey, and being a medical wellness practice, because that's where the gap was. There were so many wellness centers, but none of them were actually following basic qualifications. And us stating it out there and actually being out there providing treatments in wellness and prevention and just long-term well-being, it was what took us almost 3 years. So when I approached Harrods back then, they were open to the idea because they genuinely wanted to open a wellness center on the 4th floor in the middle of the department, which our vision matched. Now, of course, being in such a reputable department store is a luxury department store, is been a great collaboration for our brand, and it has created even more brand awareness, which we can see worldwide. But Harrods is not only a department store, like has a soul. And I truly enjoy being there because the vision is so important, and their vision was very clear from day one. And we absolutely loved and enjoyed being there. And we were the first clinic doing IV infusions in the middle of a store, or setting up a clinic in the middle of a store. And what the Harrods team has done is remarkable because it's the only and first wellness center hosting different doctors and nurses and practitioners in a store. It's absolutely fantastic. But that wasn't it only. When we decided to really expand towards having collaborations with different facilities, the whole concept of our clinic kind of, changed. Whereas at the beginning it was standalone clinics. Now we realize that there's so much more you can give out, and you can actually become a very, very great added value to hotel spas. Like, how many of us travel around the world and we choose to go to retreats when we have the time to do it? Or how many of us right now, we won't be able to travel even, we will just choose the best hotel spas around our area, and we would just go and have a spa day or a spa weekend. So what we
expectations are going to be big very soon.
Exactly. And what we wanted to do in the hotel collaborations, the concept started with that. Okay, everything about well-being is not only injectables, like it's nutrition, it's exercise, it's the spa facilities, the massage, and everything else, the products, which is quite important. And when you merge everything together, the results are even better.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I want to come back to that. And I'd like Aldina to talk to us about, bringing in concepts like the Elixir Clinic and things like that into hotels, because I think that's very relevant to our audience. But I want to ask Nicola to talk to us about brand collaboration for Elemis. I mean, I've been a big fan of Elemis, worked with Elemis for many years. And what would always excite me is when you brought out a new bag that collaborated with the latest designer, and I've still got actually the Alice Temple one that you did a few years back. It is falling apart a little bit. And I saw that you just recently did another collaboration with a local British designer.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a bit about that? Because I think Mary was talking a bit about collaborations in that sort of sense.
Yeah.
But I don't see many skincare brands doing these sorts of collaborations. And I want to know, like, why has Elemis done it, and what has it done for the brand?
Yeah, actually, it's something which we really started. I recall the first time we did one was about 19 and a half years ago, actually, nearly 20 years ago now. And the first one, we went, big or go home, and we did it with Mulberry. And it was a phenomenal.
Wow, I'd love to have one of those.
Yeah, listen,
has anyone got any of them?
Anywhere, start there. And I think that collaboration, as with all of them that we've done since, really embody true partnership and collaboration, very much in about, how we all are, because we have a global responsibility to our partners. The reason that we do all of these brand partnerships is really to increase that brand awareness, so that all of our partners, whether that be in retail, in spa, online, but also as well across that global reach, US and of course UK, Asia now, as we look to developing Asia there, to really be able to benefit from that halo effect, both in terms of the online sale, but also driving footfall into and creating additional traffic.
Yeah, I guess that's the key, isn't it? You're getting
really important for us. But every single one of those partnerships, because to Mary there, who mentioned about Drunk Elephant, who sold for a mere 800 million, we sold.
Yeah, nowhere close to.
No, we beat them out there. But we have this responsibility to ensure that from an integrity perspective, from a credibility perspective, that any partner we work with really represent our true values as well. And we're very much aligned with that, that real kind of honesty and integrity that we stand for. And, we really like to try and then work always with British brands. And some of them will be bigger brands, as we said there with Mulberry, who we worked with very first of all, but some are also emerging brands, some new designers coming through as well. Misha Nunu, who we worked with 3-4 years ago now, actually, who's very well known now, but when we first started working with her, was much newer, and especially within the UK market. And of course, last year.
A question: why did you choose to partner with her as an upcoming brand?
Yeah, very much for the reasons that we spoke about there, in terms of real kind of aspirational value, that brand fit, and also as well sometimes it can be very much about where they are in their business and what they're looking to achieve from it as well. So it's a real kind of partnership. We're in it together. When we do the partnerships, we really we'll obviously utilize the design on the bag, and going back to the point that we were talking about before, our customers are always looking for newness. What's going to create that buzz, that real kind of newness that brings them back to a brand, or really re-engages their attention, or maybe makes them step into the brand for the very, very first time. And sometimes it might well be, we talk about, especially being of the moment now, our collaboration this year is with Olivia Rubin, and we created the rainbow bag. Well, nobody would have known that the rainbow has become the symbol of, our better times ahead as we are, in this moment in time. And so, but that collaboration started out of really wanting to create something that's going to be a little bit fun, a little bit more youthful. Also thinking about, again, as we said there, where each one of us are in the development of the brand, and just to kind of bring that little bit more youthful feel to that bag as well.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But
why do you think other brands are not doing, I guess within our space, other brands are not doing these sorts of collaboration?
I see that, I think for a lot of brands, they can be quite single channel. In terms of their business operations. So absolutely, they'll be very, very focused on, where their business channel is. For us as a brand, going back, 6, 7, 8 years ago now, our vision was very much about becoming this omni-channel brand, so whether it's in that retailer, in the brick and mortar, online, looking at all the other ways that we can reach our customer. For us, we're a lifestyle brand, and it's about being where the customer is. And so it was really important to us to be able to make sure that we have all those touch points. And the brand partnerships really allow us to do that and really kind of give us this extended reach. And I think just for some brands that you know, they're very much kind of focused on their particular channel of business.
I
Can I
think
just say something there, Kathryn, on that side? I think it's so good as well from a large global brand who comes in and they embrace emerging talent. And it's, you know, that's where you know, it creates digital content as well. So when we look at social media and people go, oh, social media, well, firstly, live videos are 49% more watched than just a static photo. And where so many of us take Instagram in the wrong way is a news feed. It's not a pretty album. So these stories, you know, that person who you're bringing in, the emerging person, it creates so much content from that collaboration that you just naturally build followers, increase your digital presence, which then you can track to see if it results in sales or footfall. But it's a fantastic approach.
Absolutely.
Sorry,
Kathryn.
I was just going to say, you know, obviously we're in the midst of a really challenging time within our industry globally. And I didn't really want to dwell too much on COVID because the rest of the topics and panels that have been discussed this week are really talking about COVID. But, you know, I want to open this up to everyone. What sort of things do you think that businesses, whether it's a skincare brand, whether it's even a collaboration between an operator and a skincare brand or a hotel group, what sort of things do you think people could be doing right now to really be looking at helping their business get out of this awful situation that we're in? Anyone want to answer that?
I mean, I can put one point across where I think this goes into more of a safety collaboration in terms of, are people looking for discounts and bargains at the moment? I think, and this is a personal opinion, and we had a conversation about this yesterday, this is not about social distancing, this is about physical distancing, because none of us want to be social distancing. And the one thing which a fear or a purpose is around hygiene and about cleanliness and about contactless and, you know, what we can do from that side. And I think collaborating with the right people on that side to create the pillars that, you know, it's clean, it's hygienic, and then you start adding the creatives. That's a really important factor for the right here, right now. Just, and it should be anyway. But that's a big fear, what's on people's minds. You know, is it clean? Can we go there? Not,
so,
I've got 50
so what are you saying exactly? So brands could collaborate with a PPE provider or a cleaning provider?
Yeah, there's a, you know, I was speaking to a big tourism, a big company yesterday. Now, you know, they're saying that we're doing a lot of collaborations with ministries to make sure that we have got the right policies in place and we promote it at the right time. So there's so many things from that perspective, and it's more of a you should be doing it anyway, but this is where collaborations can go into so many different angles. It can go into creative, it can go into visiting practitioners, it can go into cross-marketing collaborations, but it can also go into, you know, the formal things we should be doing, but making sure that that is brought to our customers.
Yeah, that's true. Aldina, can I ask you, you would have most of your, well, probably all of your spas globally closed at the moment, so I'm sure everyone's working on strategy and plans and so forth. So what does it look like for you when you reopen from a collaboration perspective? I know you've got the Les Mills collaboration happening. What else do you look at? You've got fitness. What about from a wellness perspective? Have you got anything in the pipeline that you're looking at now?
Yes, I mean, always mentioning Pullman, you know, we also have this program that is active nutrition, you know, so this is for Pullman, and we partner with nutritionists on site.
And so would that be a visiting practitioner or someone who's employed?
Yeah, we will have the regular chefs there that want to play the game. it's interesting for us to know, to understand that not every chef is willing, to step this way. It took us a long time to understand, because we started this journey about the active nutrition, 6 years ago, and I did not understand first why it was so hard to dig in, because the chefs actually were not comfortable with that healthy message.
Yeah.
So this is
Well, they want to use fat and butter and salt.
Yes, but it was very, very interesting. It was very interesting because we picked up the ones that wanted to address it. And then in other regions, we partnered with local nutritionists, and as well, we started a relationship with this influencer called Sarah Hoey. With her, we toured the world, and she's a Californian. She's a coach. She's a cancer survivor, and with her, we just went to over 20 cities. We invited social media influencers everywhere we went. So this would, of course, contribute to brand awareness and drive the message of Pullman. But then to mention another example of well-being, it's also interesting for us to mention the collaboration with L'Occitane, with Sofitel, for example.
Tell us about that.
It's interesting because Sofitel, it's about effortless well-being. It's the message we want to convey. And with L'Occitane, the message was really fair. It was really fair and important. So we decided to step in that partnership, but not across the whole world. We decided to start with Mexico because, they have this fantastic new concept about sleep. And our full well-being strategy is based on sleep, on food, on sport and spa. So for Sofitel, we were able to address this sleep and spa through L'Occitane, with this sleep and reset concept backed up with strong R&D research. So for us, it was very important to bring that to the table. So we have already L'Occitane in Dubai. We started in Dubai, Mexico as well. We have three in Asia, and we just signed the full contract, 1 month ago. So it's very interesting to see that from a well-being perspective, we have this very interesting partnership as well.
So why did you choose L'Occitane as a brand for Sofitel? Because I see L'Occitane in department stores, in duty free, and all those sort of things. That for me, that wouldn't be the first brand that I would associate with Sofitel.
Actually now it's a bet for us. We wanted to dive in their brand new image. We were convinced with the new face of the brand.
Okay.
And for us, it was very, very important. The Sleep and Reset program is really important to us. And also the message that L'Occitane conveys matches fantastically with French art de vivre, So it's a way of expressing it to the Sleep and Reset.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I understand. I just wanted to mention that there's one of our viewers here has commented that Hilton has teamed up with the Mayo Clinic and Dettol to create a campaign called Hilton Stay Care, which I think is a very interesting collaboration. So I guess lots of people are out there looking at how they can do collaborations with brands that bring credibility, because obviously Mayo Clinic and Dettol are very well-known brands.
And I think Kathryn there as well. It's a really good point, from an operator's perspective. And obviously we've talked a lot about some of the bigger collaborations, but certainly at that very kind of local level for our spas, for our resorts, for our hotel spas as well. Just I think really looking at how you can partner with your brands that you actually have in the spa and really kind of work together on initiatives and projects. And we know that for some spas, they're not coming back with their full treatment menu. They're maybe only doing body, and they're not doing face, or maybe they're actually being very cautious and they're very apprehensive about coming back with treatment full stop. So really kind of thinking about the retail opportunity that can open up, you know, working together, putting together maybe a nice little kind of retail packages that a guest can buy into. You know, they might even do a kind of a click and collect type service, you know, if they call or email in, I'd love to collect, you know, my at-home spa facial collection. You know, they can come in, pick it up and go away. If you're in a hotel, it might be that you have your little in-room spa bar menu, you know, so in that bedroom, there is 2 or 3 nice collections that a guest can have either delivered up to their room before they depart, or they can come and collect it from the spa before they go. So just really kind of those local collaborations with that brand, with those brands that you've got, and then working with the brand in terms of, you know, what kind of support can they give to you in terms of Facebook, in terms of Instagram. Maybe there's an Instagram live activity that you can do together. You know,
that's important because there are a lot of online platforms now that are selling all these products and taking sales away from potentially our spas or our salons or what have you. And people want everything now, and it's next day delivery and this, that, and the other. So for our brands out there that we work with, I think it's the duty of the brands with our spas and salons, etc., to really start thinking about how they can work together so that sales still can come from the spa. They need.
And maybe what you're doing in there is you're also putting in a little bounce back to bring that guest back ready when they do feel comfortable, or ready when you are starting to do services again as well. And I did notice on the chat, actually, there was some questions about also cruise ships, which, you know, is also another big piece of my business as well. You know, there again, you have a very similar thing. You know, you can do like your in-cabin gifting as well, to the same point. You know, there's
I wonder when people are going to be getting back on cruise ships.
Let me tell you, those bookings are looking very strong as we come.
Oh, really? Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, for sure.
I wanted to ask if anyone has had or seen any fatalities when it comes to brand collaborations. And Mary, I'm sure you could answer that. But Mahi, have you got anything that you've seen not work quite so well?
Not work quite so well.
Any fallout, I guess, or any, you know, any negative side to brand collaborations?
I mean, yes, we did. And when we launched a model, I would say it was around 2017, when we started launching a model that we would just not have a standalone in the country and just do collaborations. It came down to the conclusion that it wouldn't really work. And the reason for that was because not having an existing partner in that country and not having someone there that can take over control if anything goes wrong, it was a bit of a challenge. But that was the one case only, I believe. Other than that, throughout the years, we've learned to be very, very specific on who we chose to partner with, because I think it's really, really important. It's really important to stick to what you know how to do, and to only collaborate with people that they think the same way as well, without really expanding as much and losing really that value and that level of service that you would offer. So I personally I learned to not enter any premises or any collaboration that, you know, they might be doing from A to Z and there's actually no identity there. And
so the key is to be very strict.
Absolutely.
And that you've done your homework.
At the end of the day, a collaboration can be successful, but it can also be brand damaging. If
that's
it's not the right match. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong in each business. It's just the matchmaking that is quite. I see it more of like a relationship. Really, it's like not a marriage, but it's a relationship. And if it doesn't work, it won't work. But you have to be very, very careful. And that was the one main thing that we realized, that we just need to really focus on what we know how to do and just partner up with other brands that they have the same thing, that, you know, this is what we do and we believe this is going to add value. So it works great for both parties.
Mary, have you got some stories that you can share with us?
Have I? Crikey.
We'll never look her up.
Been doing it a long time. I think the fundamental one is trust between two parties or three parties. And I've pulled out from collaborations as soon as I know a brand is not respecting my brand as much as they're respecting their own, there's an issue. So we have to be in it together. So we've had it with when we've created experiences for a spa in Dubai. We made this beautiful lotions and potions afternoon tea, flew people in. If you all agree to do things such as posting and tagging on your social media pages, because that's where you piggyback off each other's database very easily, and one party's not doing it, that's where the issue starts happening. And what could be a collaborative dream becomes a collaborative fatality. So it's just really, it's the same as hiring people. You have to interview and really assess the behavior as opposed to what's on the CV, because anyone can write something on a great CV and anyone can say, I'm fabulous and I'm a celebrity, this, that, or the other. If you are doing a collaboration and they are doing things which do not align, then you have to get out and not be afraid to get out, to be very clear, very succinct. And the ones who do it properly, they'll win. It's a win-win. If they don't want to do it properly, then you cut it.
You're hardcore.
I am. Again, I've been doing it a long time.
Sure. But at the end of the day, it's your reputation and it's your credibility at stake. So yes, absolutely, I agree. I'm just having a look at some questions because we've got to wrap up in about 13 minutes to be precise. I'm just having a look at what people are writing. If anyone's got any questions other than comments, please pop them in because I'd really like to be able to answer as many as possible. Nicola, you've grown the brand, you've helped grow Elemis globally, and obviously there's different collaborations going to work in different countries. What's the key in really understanding how a brand collaboration would work, say like US? I know you went over there to try and make that happen. How do you learn about what US, for example, wants versus the UK? Yeah.
Well, do you know what? To be honest, it's just like everybody. There's a little bit of trial and error that goes in there. And, to Aldina's point, she's laughing, and I, when you talk about piloting and we talk about crash testing, that, to be fair, is just exactly what we do, and we start off, small, without necessarily having too much visibility, but just really kind of getting a feel for it, and of course, particularly in our digital world, everything is so visible. So you can track what that performance is like, what the message, how well it's being received, pretty quickly as well. And also, you try, and do, your due diligence, as Mary said there, to pick the right partners in the first place. You have a gut feeling as to who is going to be, the best partner for you. Especially as well, but really kind of looking at, do they have a strong social following? What's their other affiliate brands that they work with? Do they have that cool factor? For us. So so much is out there, and it's down to us to make sure we're doing that due diligence. But as I said, we start off small, give a little kind of trial and test and learn, and then we go big, or we pull back from.
Move on.
But we've been pretty lucky so far with that.
You've got a great team behind you, so I guess that's
we have a phenomenal team, absolutely. And as we said, it's really about this global responsibility that we have to all of our brand partners, because it's they're trusting us to help drive the awareness, build client acquisition, build loyalty. To Mary's point there, because not everybody wants to shop online. Not everybody wants to go into a store.
Well, they don't trust with skincare that they go through what they...
Exactly. I mean, certainly what this time has done is, of course, it's changed shopping habits, definitely, and for sure. And some, for, forever as well with that. But I think it's also made us kind of look differently at how we use some of these mediums, and also as well make us appreciate how much we miss going in to have that one-on-one contact as well. So
I miss massages.
yeah, exactly. See, Kathryn, you went to have your hair done. We heard.
Right.
We're the lucky ones.
Really.
We haven't yet been able to do that here, but we're all dying too.
Yeah, sorry, I'm lucky. Yeah. We've got a question here, and I think that I would really like Mary and Mahi to answer it. It's a cool one. What would be your dream collaboration that is really thinking outside the box with pairing two brands that would otherwise not make sense? Sorry, put you on the spot with this one.
I'm going to do one because I think it's amazing, but it's a person with a spa, but it's a free diver called William Winram. Okay. So he's a world free diver in Hawaii, okay. And he should be in an amazing spa because he's the most incredible person at doing deep meditation. When you hear free diver, shocks, free diver, he's incredible. So most spas are going about, yoga, Pilates, but he can do deep meditation, but he's a free diver. That's just one which came out of my head from a person who is.
Aldrina, you might want to jump onto that one for one of your brands. Be quite exciting. Mahi, what about you? Have you got something?
I mean, for me, living in London and having to realize and accept the fact that I might not be able to leave this city anytime soon, I think the dream collaboration, and one thing that there's a big luck here, is having that one-stop location that you could go to and have everything done, basically from A to Z, meaning nutrition, gym, to like a co-working space that you can actually also meet people, to kind of a member club, but it's not a member club. And I don't think anything such as exists yet. But that would be it. Or some of the existing member clubs, something more or less like what the Lancerhof Club did in London, but adding the spa element to it as well, because for me, the spa is quite important. Like you, I miss my massages so much. And if I could have that done now, it would be great. But a collaboration such as, I think it would be ideal for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny you say that. So we've got Michaela here from Soho House in London saying, what platforms do you use to find the best people/company to partner with to support treatment offerings rather than retail offerings? Does anyone have any solutions for this? That's actually probably a good business opportunity.
Word of mouth, really. I mean, there is no panel or anything. It's more about getting a feedback or places that we've been ourselves and, they left a memory or something that we don't want to go back to. It can be a product, can be anything, but
word of mouth probably. Nicola, you've got something?
Yeah, I was going to say, definitely look at those travel partners. We talk about Mulberry, who we worked with nearly 20 years ago, but another one of our very long-standing partnerships is with British Airways, both in terms of providing that amenity bag to first class, business class passengers, but also through the travel spas. And, we see hundreds of thousands of those first class, business class travelers through London, through the 5 terminals there, and then also through New York. And literally they have that opportunity to have that 15-minute touch point of service. And what that is then about is being able to introduce somebody to that LMS service so that they then go and they look, where can I find this? Where can I get my full treatment from? So, if you're kind of looking to partner with travel brands like that, then, I think they're great collaborations to think about. But also thinking about how you then make your treatments very visible to your customer as well. And I think, again, we've talked a lot about Instagram. That is probably one of the most visited pages on our LMS.com, Instagram sites, and that is where we're doing influencer treatments in the house of LMS. So really kind of using that as the medium. We have a lot of influencers that are coming in. They kind of, take that video whilst they're in the treatment room. They'll, post it for themselves. That's the most watched page. Totally. And so, I think for each spa to really use those kind of platforms And whether it's the team doing it for themselves, are you thinking about developing your own influencers in your own businesses? Again, I think that really elevates an honesty and integrity as well.
I was going to bring up influencers, and then I thought against it because I thought the whole topic would end up going towards
minefield.
That's a whole nother session that we could probably talk about. But you're totally right. I mean, that collaboration, that partnership of influencer and brand is, you know, incredibly important and can elevate your brand immensely. So no, I totally agree. I've got a good question here from Suzanne Lopez. Oh, it's going up as I'm trying to read it. Would collaborating with a brand also isolate your brand with loyal consumers of your brands, loyal consumers of your partner brand's competitor? How can you avoid such a situation? Mary, this might be one for you. Would collaborate?
Sometimes, I mean, one of the good ways to do rotating brand collaboration. So you can rotate, so do it like you know, when you see the arts club and they have different arts come in. So rather than do the long term, you can do quarterly. So you're not going into any camp in particular. You're staying fluid and seeing how. Now, obviously, if one collaboration completely explodes, then you want to continue with it. But it's also allows you to be more fluid. And again, these are the kind of things which you could start doing tomorrow. So if you look at your, you know, what's in your spa salon at the moment, I mean, even the tea bags, you know, the tea brands, you should be collaborating with a tea brand which aligns with you, which is privately owned and which can post stuff about you. You can create alliances with collaborations. So you could do an alliance with, if you're a salon, you can do an alliance with a nail bar, a tanning specialist, and do a membership package for your guests, 20% off. It's quick and easy. And then you can kind of move it around. You don't necessarily need to keep the same people, which means you don't get stuck. You know, sometimes a big collaboration, it takes time, and those are good, but sometimes equally the quick and fast and let's go and see what happens is good as well, because the world is spinning very fast.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we've just got time for one more question. We've got 2 more minutes and we're going to get locked out. We've got a question here that says, do you think that with the next trend of more domestic and regional audience traveling in hotels, it's time to partner with local or regional niche brands more than big names already implemented in many places? Or still a big name is the best business driver? Aldina, do you want to answer that? Because I think that would be something that's probably suitable.
Yeah, actually, we do not partner only with big names. We also have local initiatives, you know, and we select local brands as well. For Sofitel, it's exactly the strategy we are following. We have a big name that is, this name needs to have a French root for us. It's important to the DNA of what we want. And then we pick up the best of the local. You know, so we have fantastic examples for that. In Asia, you have many brands. We have Itsara in Asia, for example. So yes, we definitely are looking for local brands.
I guess it's also about supporting local as well, right? You know, we're all struggling everywhere.
Yes. And I don't want to give the idea that we are collaborating with only big names, because that's absolutely not what we are doing. I just gave these examples for the sake of the conference.
No, of course. And we only have an hour. We could talk about this forever.
And also very important, we are big, but we don't copy paste. That's very important as well to understand. We have a big network, but we never copy paste. Yeah, amazing. Sometimes, you know, L'Occitane cannot be applicable in London, for example.
Yeah, absolutely. No, totally agree.
This is now we are partnering now with a new brand, a new French brand called Codage in London, Sofitel.
Oh, I love Codage. Great brand. Okay, sorry, we're going to have to wrap it up. I would love to keep chatting. And we've had some really, really good feedback from everyone. Thank you for all of the comments with everyone who's been watching. And I'm sure that they can view this later, right, Mark?
That is right. It is recorded.
Okay, amazing. Fantastic. But thank you so much, ladies. I've really enjoyed having a chat. Let's do it again another time.
Thank you.
Kathryn. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much, Kathryn, Spa Connections.